Okay, real quick. Let's talk about why we would need to complete the square for this. I'm gonna start by saying, let's talk. I meant I'm gonna talk for a second about why. First, let's review all of the methods that we learned for solving quadratics. Methods for solving quadratics. Wait, quadratics, okay? The first method we learned was like just a big pain. It was graphing. Honestly, graphing is really only helpful if you already are given the graph with the parabola. Then you can just see where it intercepts the x-axis, or if it intercepts the x-axis, and then that will give you your solutions. That's really the only time when graphing is helpful. Obviously, that's not going to help us here. Then we learned about factoring to find the solutions. We do factoring, and then we do the zero product property, right? That's really easy when you have something like this. Factor this.
You can.
Factor it.
2 in parentheses.
2 and 3.
Sorry.
X plus 2, X plus 2.
Boom, solved, factored, done, solved. Factored, zero product property, solved. Okay, if factoring is so great, let's use it for this. First of all, since A, technically you could try to factor it by multiplying A and C together, and then doing the split C's down the middle and the matchy, bobo-batchy. You are gonna have to do that on one of them on the practice test. All of the notes are on Canvas, but this one is not gonna work. So let's do the first step. Let's do the hint here, where we have this, and we're noticing that all three of these are divisible by 2. It's kind of like reducing the equation by dividing everything by 2 to make it simpler. Yeah.
Would be x squared minus 2x minus 10 equals 0.
So hold off on just like giving the answers, because I haven't even like written that on the board yet, okay? What I want to show everybody is what it looks like when we're dividing everything by 2, okay? And if I'm dividing everything by 2, the equation is balanced. Then I don't have to put 2 on one side and then like factor it out like a GCF. If I'm dividing both sides of the equation by 2, then everything is balanced, and I don't have to keep the 2 as a GCF on the outside as a factor. So, go ahead, Carmen.
It's x squared plus 2x.
No.
Minus 2x, sorry.
Okay.
Minus 10.
Yep.
Equals nada.
Equals what?
Nada.
0. Okay. So now we have this, and factoring is really easy, so let's factor it.
1
Huh?
and 10.
1 and 10?
No, 2 and 5.
2 and
What? It doesn't equal 2 though.
oh,
Wait,
that's,
yeah, you're right. Can't
that's my
factor.
bad.
So what is it?
2 and 5.
You can't.
It's not 2 and 5.
Wouldn't
You
be
can't.
5.
You have to add 10 on both sides. It can't be factored.
It can be factored.
You have to add 10 on both sides.
That's fine.
If it can't be factored, then we need another
No, it's
method.
oh.
And that's why we learned about method number 3, completing the square. We learned about completing the square when it can. I highly recommend trying to factor first, but if it can be because factoring is easier. Remember, we were working on that today. We said, which one's easier, factoring or completing the square? We worked on a problem that was factorable, but we also were like, well, let's complete the square and see if that's easier. We got the answer, but it was more steps and I didn't like it. So if you can factor it, factor it. If you can't factor it, complete the square. Now, the problem with this is it's not a perfect square. Because of this. It's annoying and it needs to change to be a perfect square. Yeah?
You add 10 to both sides.
Yeah, I gotta get rid of that minus 10 by adding it so it cancels out, and then I have positive 10 over here. So now I have x squared minus 2x equals 10. Now, if I want to complete this square in order to factor it and have it actually work, What?
No.
Yeah, no, but I know why you're saying that. First tell me, if I'm going to add something here, why would I also have to add something here? Yeah.
Because, wait. Never mind.
Yeah.
Because you want to make it equal on both sides.
Yeah, we have to keep it balanced, right? We have to keep this equal sign true. We have to keep the equation balanced. So if I am going to make this a perfect square by adding something to the side, I have to add that same something to the other side. Okay, so how do I know what to add? Yeah.
You divide 3 by 2
Uh-huh.
and then square.
That's exactly what I do. I take my b value, I divide it by 2, and then I square it.
So then after everything.
Jack, that's 4, one more, and you get a letter home. Okay?
And minus 2x.
You don't need to look at him. I'm right up here doing all this math, okay?
10 plus.
All right, so we take our b, we divide it by 2, and then we square that. That's gonna get us to complete the square.
Wait, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then if you
Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. When I square that, I get,
1.
great, 1 is a perfect square.
Wait, what the?
Oh!
You.
What's the square root of 1?
1.
Good. Isn't 1 amazing?
1.
You guys have like something against the number 1 being a perfect square?
Yes.
Vincent, do you think you could sit up and not rest your head on your hands as if you're ready for a happy nappy?
I am ready.
Okay. I am too, but you don't see me laying down in the middle of class. Okay,
Happy.
so do you see how we just completed the square? And we had to add the same thing to the other side. I'm just gonna erase this in the way. Does everybody understand that? Okay.
Yes.
So why did I complete the square? So that I can factor it. And the best part about factoring a perfect square
Is that
is
it's
that,
the same for both, so
Yup.
the answer is just that squared.
yep. So what is the answer or the factor? What?
Oh, it's x minus 1 and then x minus 1.
Exactly. X minus 1 squared. Because negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, and negative 1 plus negative 1 is negative 2. And on the other side, we have 11, because 10 plus 1 is 11. Very good. Yeah.
So when you do the thing where you like put 2 over b,
Yeah. B over 2. Yeah.
is it always gonna be 1 since it's like the same thing?
No. So like if B were 4, and you divide it by 2, it'll be 2, and then you square that, it'll be 4. If it's 6, you would divide it by 2 and get 3, and square 3, you get 9. You're always gonna end up with a number that's a perfect square though. You'll get 1, you'll get 4, you'll get 9, 25, 36, 49. You'll always end up with a perfect square because you're squaring a number to get it. Yes?
Oh no, my.
Okay.
144.
What's our next step here?
You have to make it equal to 0, right?
I'm so sorry that I have to keep taking time to do this. What?
You have to make it equal to 0, right?
No.
You don't.
That would be like if we wanted to factor one side. It's already factored. Yeah. Well, what are we trying to solve for? X. So how do we solve for x? Yeah.
You do something like if x is 12.
No, it's not.
12 minus 12 is 1.
Yeah.
We do this mathematically.
Yes. We square root them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember from yesterday?
I don't.
Okay. This is what happens when I don't assign any homework. You're like, I didn't practice, so I have no idea what you're doing. If we want to solve for x, we first need to unsquare this by getting the square root of it. That unsquares it. And then we also need to get the square root of 11. Now, this is a really trick question. What is the square root of 11? Yeah,
Nothing. It's
no.
what?
Square root, wait.
3.3
No.
is
1.
11.
0.
3.3.
It's just
What?
5.
Pi? Do you see any circles?
0.
He's hungry.
Yeah,
Radical 11.
not quite.
11.
No.
She's the closest so far.
Oh.
Yeah.
1 times 11, right?
Wait,
Yeah.
Plus or minus a radical.
Yes! Plus or minus radical 11, yes. Radical 11 is plus or minus radical 11. Remember, two solutions. There are two solutions to radical 11. It's the positive radical 11 and the negative radical 11.
Could if you square x minus 1, you get x squared plus 1
If we square x minus 1, we'll get back to this, and then we'll have x, and then we'll have to square that, and we'll get x minus 1 squared equals 11. We just had that. That'd be going backwards. It was squared. We unsquared it. Now, to solve for x, all we need to do is
Add 1.
add 1 to both sides. That make sense? Add 1 to both sides, and I'm running out of room. And now I have x equals 1 plus or minus radical 11. And that's as simple as it gets.
Yay.
Because if you tried to put this into the calculator, it will give you a decimal number that goes on forever. It's not a wrong answer, it's just not an accurate answer. Unless the question says round to the nearest hundredths place, or thousandths place, or tenths place, or millionths place. If it wants you to round, then round it. But if it doesn't ask to be rounded, it wants an exact number, and that's as exact as it gets. It's not a rational number. Okay, do we kind of get this now? Yeah, okay. Yes, it was from yesterday. But concepts seem to keep falling out of people's heads. All right,
Is that what I think it is?
now we're going to encounter a problem. Check it out
Concepts
out here.
easy today.
Quadratic formula.
He can read, good job. X squared minus 7 equals 4x. That's literally all I'm gonna use from that, and now I'm gonna go to blank. I'm gonna go dark here. Now, I could try to graph this, but I absolutely refuse. I could try to factor it, but yeah, let's actually try it. We have that kind of time. All right, let's do x squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. I just rearranged it, okay? I subtracted 4x from both sides. Do you guys see how I did that?
No.
Should I back it up? I'll back that up a little bit. The only way we're going to try to figure out how to solve this is if we put this in standard quadratic form. How do I do that, Alea? What is standard quadratic form? What does a regular quadratic equation look like with like the A and the B and the C? Help her out, Bo.
AX squared plus BX plus C.
AX squared plus BX plus C. And I'll say equals 0. That's a quadratic equation in standard form. That's not in standard form. We need to get this to poof be 0, but we can't just like tell the 4x to like.
You could put it
Minus
in
4x.
BX.
I can't just put it, but I can remove it, right?
You could write
Yep. I can subtract 4x. I can remove it and put it on that team.
That puts it like
And then I have x squared
Minus 4x.
minus 4x. Why did you choose the minus 4x first, not the minus 7?
Because it's X and it's
It's
just-
greater. in B's.
No, it has an X.
Quadratic standard
And
form.
like
Because the degree is higher, right? We need it in the degrees in order from least to greatest, 2, 1, 0, and that's standard form. Now I have, speaking of zeros, I've got a value 0 over here, x squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. Now, let's try to factor it, because factoring is really easy.
It is? Oh, it's not.
Yeah, if you can.
False.
All right, so what two numbers multiply to get -7, that add to get -4?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. What's 3 times 4? 12, not -7.
None.
None. We can't factor it. Okay. We could try to complete the square. I'm actually really curious. I haven't tried to complete the square on this. We could. Do you want to try it?
Sure.
Let's try to complete the square. I haven't tried it yet. All right, so let's get the 7 out of here. Let me try to complete the square. X squared minus 4x plus something equals 7. Okay, let's complete the square. We'll take our -4 divided by 2. That gets -2. I'm going to square that and get 4.
Wait, you forgot to say plus. Guess you didn't.
7 plus 4 is 13.
Huh?
12 plus 4 is 13.
Thank you. What are you, a human calculator? All right, so now let's factor this. Anybody?
Oh,
X minus 4,
Minus
X
2.
plus 4.
X minus 2 is correct. X minus 2 squared equals,
13.
huh?
13.
Where did the
11.
13.
What's 7 plus
Oh my
4?
god.
11.
11.
Where did?
You're the one that said it was right.
Supposed to be paying attention. Next.
Radical both of them.
Radical.
Okay.
Wait. Did we just have this problem?
Nope.
Oh no, second.
Plus and minus, radical 1.
Okay.
X equals
Plus 2.
X equals 2 plus or minus 4.
That's correct. We got the solutions. So this does actually work. But I'm going to teach you another method that's going to give you, I was going to say an exact answer, but it's also an answer that needs to be rounded. I'm just going to give you another method because depending on the question, you might get a multiple choice answer that looks like this, and then you'll know that it's completing the square. Vincent, can you tell him to call him back? Can you tell him you'll call him back later? Okay, thank you. Because we're in the middle of class.
Except put the calculator down.
He literally had it up like this. And I just want you to just tell me to call him back later when we're not in the middle of class, okay? All right, so this would be an answer for completing the square. You'll see multiple choice questions that look like this, and then you'll know that you need to complete the square. But if it's asking you for an answer that's like rounded, you could either do this and then actually solve it and round it, or you can use the good old quadratic formula. Works every time. Oh, I'm actually gonna leave this because I need this. So the quadratic formula looks like a beast, but it's really not that. The quadratic formula. There are two beautiful things about the quadratic formula. The first one is, you don't have to memorize it, it's on your EOC reference sheet. The second one is, you're right over here. X equals, the second one is, you can just punch it into your calculator and your calculator does all of the work for you, as long as you punch it in correctly. X equals, so this is the quadratic formula, it does not need to be memorized. It is -b plus or minus the square. I'm gonna run out of room. Everything takes so much room. The square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's a quadratic formula. and it's the same every time. So all you need to do is plug in your values for A, B, and C. So once you have your quadratic equation, you have your A, B, and C. A equals, B equals, C equals. What is A in this equation? 1. How do we know that?
Because it's invisible.
Yeah, there's an invisible 1 right here. What about B? -4, signs matter.
-7.
-7, very good. Now we have all of our values. All we're gonna do is take this, I'm gonna rewrite it, but I'm not gonna plug in my numbers yet. I'm just gonna put in empty parentheses where there are the A, B, and C variables to just start protecting all of the like positive and negative signs to keep things organized. So I'm gonna do X equals negative B, so I'll do negative blank plus or minus blank squared minus 4 times blank over 2 times blank. Whoops. I said blank. Now I'm gonna fill them in. My first blank is a -4.
So it'd be positive.
Right, but guess what? We don't even have to do that. We're gonna type that in as a -4 into the EOC calculator. We're not gonna worry about any of it. What about this? -4. And this?
-4.
-1.
1. It's gotta be A.
-7.
-7 and 1. So I want everybody to get out their Chromebook real quick because we are going to actually plug that in to the EOC calculator.
I can reach.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, right.
I want you to use your Chromebook plug this entire thing in as is. Like if you want to simplify this to like positive or just make it less tight, I'm okay with that. Some people just do it probably exactly as it is, so they don't get it right in their heads.
It's like, how do you do the positive and negatives?
That's a really good question. I'm going to explain that part. You do have to do this twice, but you don't have to type it in twice. I'll show you how you type it in, and then all you have to change is one thing to get the second answer. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is, since this is, it is written as like a fraction, you've got a numerator, a lot's going on in the numerator, and then something going on in the denominator, I'm just gonna put my X over Y button, and I'm gonna start typing in my numerator. So I'm just gonna put a -4. Then I'm gonna do, see, Jacob just asked, how do you do the plus or minus?
Positive first.
It's a really good question. We're gonna do the positive first. Then, after I've done everything and gotten my solution for the positive, I'm going to go back and just erase the positive and put in a negative. And it will solve it again for me. Okay, do you have your EOC calculator up?
Would it be 2 different answers?
It'll give you 2 different answers. You'll have 2 solutions. Because it's a quadratic equation. It intercepts the x-axis 2 places, remember? Quadratics give us 2 solutions. What?
But this was just one answer.
Positive or negative means the answer is 2 plus radical 11 and 2 minus radical 11. Okay, so -4, I'm gonna put plus, and then the square root of -4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 7.
-7.
Thank you. See how we can mess this up if we don't plug it in the correct way. And then on the bottom is 2 times 1. Did I have to put 2 times 1? Could I just put 2? Yes. If you want to simplify parts of it, you can, but you don't need to. Now I'm just going to scroll. I zoomed in here, so I have to scroll over to my solution. And it's quite a long number. It's not a rational number, but it is
now you just round it. So I round it to the nearest.
Hey, that's what
This?
I got.
Okay, I will in a second, I just need to show them this part. Okay, so this is the solution. This example in the book wanted you to round it to the nearest hundredth. So we would round that and just say one solution is 5.32.
Wait, what'd you get, Miss Lynn?
Because I first clicked on the X over Y button. I typed in my numerator first, then I clicked in the denominator and typed in the denominator. Although I've heard that you can just type in the whole thing and then put the slash, and it will go under.
Yeah.
That's what I told them, and they said, no, it goes under the whole thing. And I said, fine, if that works, do it. This is how I do it. I click this button first.
Oh, I clicked the
Okay, now that I've gotten my first solution, what I would do is write that one down, because you definitely want it. So I write, I think it's 5.32 would be rounded. All you have to do, you don't have to erase the whole thing. Just where it says your plus, erase that and put a minus. Same exact everything except for subtracting that part. And look,
What?
totally different answer. Negative 1.3 to about negative 1.32. So that's how the quadratic formula is so simple. You just need to get your A, B, and your C, plug them in, type it into your EOC calculator, and it does both solutions
But
for
why
you.
do you have two answers? Because back there, yes, there was two answers, but it just showed us uncomplicated.
Cause,
Because it was, okay, because I want to explain this by showing on the calculator, I just don't have time to do that. Do you want to explain it?
yeah, we really quick. So
You
basically,
don't want him to explain it?
no,
She wants me to explain
but,
it.
but it should be simple. If you-
I'll make it really simple for her, okay? Do you trust me that I can explain it in a simple way? Okay, good. So what it is that version, can you just read that answer for me for that other problem? It said x equals what?
Two, positive, negative, radical, and
Okay. So what this is saying is this is actually two solutions. It is 2 plus radical 11 and 2 minus radical 11. If they look so similar, but if I were to, I'll actually do it into the calculator. If I were to punch in 2 plus radical 7 into the calculator, actually you can do it.
11.
Do 2 plus radical 11 into the calculator, what do you get? Estimate, just do 2 decimal places.
5.32.
Good, 5.32. Okay, now erase the plus sign and do a minus sign so that we have 2 minus radical 11.
It's negative 1.32.
That's the same as ours.
Yep. It's because we saw it by completing the square before. So this is what we got when we completed the square. You see how we're getting the same value? This is the exact, the completing the square gives us the exact value. Doing the quadratic formula gives us the as exact as it can get for an irrational number. This looks like it ends, it keeps going, 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 and calculator just can't show you every single number because there's no end to it. Yeah.
So, like, will they give us like an EOC calculator for our EOC?
Yeah, and it'll look just like that. It's called the EOC calculator, the one that you're using. Yeah.
Can't have enough.
Huh?
Can't have enough.
Yes. Okay, I have one more very important thing to teach you that Carmine is not gonna learn because he is going to use the bathroom instead. Sorry, I have to embarrass the people who choose bathroom trips over my lesson. It's okay, I'm not offended.
Well, I've been like holding the
Well,
whole.
taking a bathroom trip is, yeah, I know. Okay. So the last thing I want to teach you guys is called, actually let me get a slide up. It's simply called, it's a really weird word.
It's called the,
Can you put a Chromebook away?
I bet you start with
You just close them and you can put them away when it's time to pack up. Okay, it's called the discriminant. The discriminant. Say discriminant.
Discriminant.
Discriminant. Discriminant. Discriminant. Discriminant. Okay? The discriminant is a fancy word for this portion of the quadratic formula. So we just talked about how this this whole thing is the quadratic formula, and we saw things what we used it for to find these solutions. I was going to say exact solutions. It's not exact. You have to round it. This whole formula tells us the two solutions, or however many solutions it has. It tells us what the solutions are. But this portion that's in red, this b squared minus 4ac, that portion of the formula gives us very special information about the solution to the quadratic equation. And that information it gives us is it tells us how many solutions it has. It will tell us if it has two solutions, meaning the parabola intercepts the x-axis in two places. It will tell us if it only has one solution intercepting the x-axis in only one place. Or it'll tell us if it has no solutions, not intercepting the x-axis at all. That discriminant will tell us how many solutions. So basically, I'm sorry, you're getting a letter, okay? And then I bet your behavior will get better after that, all right? So this discriminant will tell us, without having to actually find the solutions, it will tell us how many solutions it has. I think there are 2 questions on your practice test and test that are going to ask you either what the discriminant is, or how many solutions does this quadratic equation have based on the discriminant. So, what is that equation that we just had? I erased it. Yeah, that quadratic formula. Somebody tell me what the discriminant was. The b minus the 4 times the a times the c. What's the b? Negative 4. The a was 1, and the c was -7. And then when we solve this, does anybody have that in your EOC calculator still?
What?
I know I said you could close your Chromebook. But if you actually were to solve this, which we can, what's -4 squared?
16.
Positive 16, and then -4 times 1 is -4 times -7 is positive 28, and that equals 44. So, 44, what does that mean? I have 44 solutions? No. So the key is, if the discriminant, which is this, right, b squared minus 4ac, if that discriminant is a number that is greater than 0, then there are 2 solutions, which is why when we solved that quadratic equation just a minute ago, we got 2 different numbers, right? If you solve for a discriminant and you end up with the value 0, if it equals 0, there's only one solution. And if you get a number for your discriminant that's negative, less than 0, it means it has no real solutions. That's all. That's all I want to teach you about the discriminant. But you're not allowed to pack up yet, because we still have time. We're going to make you do a problem. All right, I want you guys to solve A. Using the quadratic formula, I guess that means you're going to have to open up your Chromebooks again. Yeah. No, I'd like you to try this. Binks, please try A.
I'm good. I'm ready for
Manufacturing knows the man, What? Oh. Let's just put it on. Wait, I'm not doing it. So
it would be, let me do this. Okay. So it would be negative. Negative.
Why aren't you using the quadratic? It says solve using the quadratic formula. You guys are trying to factor it. Oh my gosh. Why would they give you a factorable thing?
But x equals
Well, you're gonna need to write the quadratic formula. Oh, you just don't know how to set it up first? Guys, this equation is not set up in standard form, so how do we take care of that?
You subtract x to the second. Pretty fused.
Yeah, there are two ways to do it. You could subtract x to the second, and you could have negative x to the second, or negative 1 x to the second, plus, or no, minus 4x, minus 4x, plus 21 equals 0. Or you could subtract 21 and add 4x to both sides, and then all your sides will be the opposite. Still come out the same.
Okay. Let's see. C is 21.
You can factor.
Oh, wait. Isn't it over 2a?
You got it, Natalie?
So this be
Negative 4
for the first one. This be B.
So no.
No, for the formula.
That's because you did that.
So I need to put that
And this be E, B, A, C.
Yeah, it's B, A, C,
A, C, A.
yeah, because A
Oh,
is
yeah.
A.
No, it's negative 1. A is negative 1. Negative. Here you go.
I don't think I read that correctly.
No, that is,
I didn't write that correctly.
no.
No.
I don't have any idea of why you do it.
I
Was
wasn't
it?
What's the formula again?
Yep, that's it.
What's the formula?
Didn't you write it down in your notes?
Yeah,
Oh.
just one part.
Are you done?
If class is over, you guys can go, but it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. It was 3 and negative 7.